start where we started with Ryan. Tell us a little about your off-season. What was in your training?
So I ended up staying in Alabama the first part of it, and I trained with my coach in Birmingham, Mike McCabe, big one-on-one guy, works with all the college guys, all the pro guys. So stayed with him. Didn't really hit that much in spring because I was coming off an injury. So I stayed in Alabama, got better. I feel good.
What was it like coming to SMU? I know Coach Diver was the one that found you and all that. What was that process like? And did you have other kind of scholarships? And how quickly did you?
So I had some walk-ons, but I had some walk-ons to Georgia, Ole Miss, Florida State, big schools, and they just didn't want to pull the trigger. So I was kind of in January, and I was like, what am I going to do? And Coach Diver gets hired, comes to Alabama, sees me a little bit, and then offers me the scholarship, and it kind of goes from there.
Was the expectation that you were going to be the kicker day one? Just kind of
No.
how did that battle and everything roll out with that?
So when I got here, Brendan was here, and he had a pretty solid. He wasn't starting kicker, but he'd had a position on the team before, and so freshman coming in, really nervous, but just kind of I always do well under pressure, and so I came in and just thought that was my spot, and I earned it.
You mentioned always doing well under pressure. Is that something that's sort of born into you, or is that something you've been able to develop? And if so,
I don't know. I make a joke about it. It's kind of funny. People come up to me all the time. And they're like, "What are you thinking when you're about to hit a field goal?" I'm like, to be honest with you, I don't think about anything. I'm just ready to kick the ball. So it's it's kind of a blank mind. Go out there, make the kick, and not think about it.
you mentioned your off-season training with your coach back home. How much of that was simply getting in repetition and trying to get stronger, or were you trying to modify your technique in any way?
It was more getting the rust off. Bringing back some, the technique from last season and stuff like that. Because, I was out from the bowl game until about March, April, because I was recovering, and so had a lot of rust in the spring game, and it showed. And so I stayed in Alabama, got that rust off, trained almost every day, and I'm feeling good.
Do you talk to many of the kickers around the country?
Oh yeah. I went to Tennessee. Cole's Kicking has a big camp every year, and got invited. And I'm really close with Will Reichard at Alabama and Neelan Hibbett at Alabama, because Will's from Hoover and Birmingham. So I'm pretty close with all of them, and it's just a big community. You guys stick together as kickers.
How do you pick up little things about, like, especially your freshman season? Will wasn't perfect, coming into Alabama, and has developed obviously into one of the better kickers in the country. Do you pick up anything from him?
Yeah. So a lot of the older kickers that I'll look at, I think I don't know if it's a kicker thing, but it's a me thing where I'll look at other college kickers and I'll be like, and I'll look at other guys and I'll be like, oh, he does that really, really well, and like he's very, very consistent, and like you can see like when he's warming up or when he's about to hit a kick that he's gonna bang it. So
adding kickoffs this year,
How
do you? Obviously, it's a different kick for you, but also a little bigger workload than for you this year.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I wanted to do it last year. Obviously he'd been going, during this, Brendan had been going in the season. So, I was disappointed I couldn't, but at the same time probably helped with the back injury and stuff like that. But I'm very excited to do it this year. I'm very excited. I was glad that Coop came to me in the off season and was saying, you're going to be our guy on kickoff, and I expect you to, show us that you're our guy. And so,
when you talk to the coaches before the game, after warm-ups, how much is it you telling them your comfort range for that day, or how much is it them telling you we're only going to go to you up to a certain distance?
It's really Coach Natty's out there, and he comes up to me and he goes, how you feeling today? And I'll test the wind. Like in warm-ups, I'll hit a few kicks, but then I'll get like a really long one and just see how it feels. And if it feels good, I'm like, this is the range that that I'd feel comfortable, and if we need it, then I can go a little further. But that's kind of where he bases it off of, and then it's just building trust through practice with Coop and with Coach Clausen, and Coach Lashley, hitting those longer field goals and building that trust between each other.
All right, so in ideal conditions, what do you consider your range of comfortably going out there?
Honestly, probably just under 60, probably 58, 57, around there. Feel pretty confident around there, especially with a little win. Like maybe if we're against the win, 55-ish, but with the win, probably 58-ish around there. Feel pretty confident.
What'd you kick at Prattville? As your longest was it 54?
It was 53.
53,
Yeah, 53
okay.
in high school. It was the last game. It was actually funny. It was the last. So Brian Egan is a one-on-one guy, and he's from Prattville, and he had the record. He played at Mississippi State, and I'm really close. He lives in Dallas. I train with him all the time, and I always joke with him because I broke his record last game of my high school career, because that was literally the last game. That was the first round, and broke it. And so I always tell him. I was rubbing in his face. I'm like, how do you feel that I broke your record? He's like, he brings up, because Prattville, used to be winning state championships and top 5 in the nation. He was like, well, you didn't win 3 state championships. I was like, different times.
What's your longest in practice?
65 all the sticks. Yeah.
Do you add distance as you add strength in a college program, or is it more kind of flexibility improvements, or how's that process?
So a lot of people are like, oh, you need to be squatting more. I really don't squat. I don't squat that much. To be honest with you, all my strength is natural strength from soccer, running, and that's how it was. Like when I was a little kid, I didn't lift. I didn't do anything like that. I just played soccer. So that's how I got big legs, and I was always known to kick the ball far. So that's kind of where it came from.
And then talked about it obviously with Ryan, but having him back as your holder, having Will back as the snapper, how nice is it when you're trying not to think about anything through the kick to really trust that?
Yeah, no, I love Ryan, and he's just so consistent. We'll watch film most days, and it's a clinic. Like coach will be like, we'll watch it, and it'll be a low snap or a bobble or a snap, and he'll get it spinning. And it's just like, if I had to teach shape, this would be the teach shape. So, it's very nice, and he's got that experience, with Dicker when he was at UT, and so it's very nice to have. And then Will, he's earned, and he got put on scholarship in the spring, which he earned. He very much earned it. He's been so consistent, and that's what I love.
You hear some kickers talk about being good wet ball kickers. Do you consider yourself a good kicker of a wet ball? And if so, what kind of adjustments do you make when you approach a kick in the rain?
I would think so, because in Alabama it rains a lot. So most games were wet balls, and so I just you can't really focus on the rain. You just gotta kick it. So you gotta do the exact same thing, and just not think about the ball, not think about anything else. Just kicking it. And I've been in games where it's been like you can't see the ball in front of you, and then you just hit it, and you just drive through it, and it's the same exact thing.
And then just working with Coach Clausen, what's that been like, him coming in and being a former kicker and really kind of being able to relate that way?
He does a great job. I really like him. He relates to us. He doesn't just tell us what to do. He doesn't, just tell us it has to be this way, it has to be that way. He wants us to, he wants to learn how we work as a group, and, with all different personalities. And because, as kickers, as specialists, there's so many different personalities. And me included, I have very, very different personalities. So it's trying to get adjusted to that, and trying to figure out everyone's personality, how they can, play as a group. So